Luigi Mangione back in court today. You can actually see him sitting next to his defense team this morning, which is day 5 of this major pretrial hearing. And it comes exactly 1 year since Mangione was arrested inside of a Pennsylvania McDonald's after a 5-day national manhunt.
VA says newly released evidence photos show a close-up of a silencer on the gun prosecutors say Mangione allegedly used to kill United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber following the latest for us. So, Ellison, today, prosecutors called another officer to the stand, Stephen Fox. What has he said so far?
So he is a police officer with the Altoona Police Department. He was one of the officers that was involved in the search of this backpack that Mangione had with him. One of the things that has been interesting, and we've seen this as we have seen different officers testify on the stand, is they're really trying to push, when the state is questioning them, to establish why they felt they had to search this bag. He is testifying in the same way we have heard a lot of other officers testifying, saying, we were concerned there was an explosive in that bag. That's why we had to go through and search it. One thing that has been interesting just in the last 15, 20 minutes or so is them really going through line by line. There's this moment, and we've heard it before on the body camera, where you hear other officers say, we should get a warrant. And somebody else says, we don't need to. It's an inventory search, or it's an incident to arrest search, and they're kind of talking about it. They ask him about that conversation. And at one point they say, and this is the assistant DA asking him, if an officer that was above him, a couple officers, if they asked him to stop and go get a warrant. Officer Fox testifies, no, he did not. They say, you're searching a bag. Did Hanley say, stop, go get a warrant? That's another officer. He says, no. They say, is Hanley the commanding officer? Officer Fox testifies, yes. He asks if 2 other people also said, go get a warrant. He says, no. So what they're really getting at here is the idea of, is it going to be something that will qualify for some of those exceptions where courts have previously said it can be reasonable to conduct a warrantless search and the evidence can still be administered in court? They call it exigent circumstances is one of the big ones. I call it the grabbable distance rule, the idea behind it being that if there's a concern for the arresting officer's safety and something is in grabbable distance, courts have historically said that it can be reasonable to conduct a search without a warrant in those situations. They're trying to establish. We had a real fear. We thought there was a bomb in this. The defense, so, they're going to push back on that when they get across.
Ellison, the words really matter here. You have some officers who are calling this red notebook a manifesto. You have others who are saying the handwritten note had these possible escape routes. Tell us about the evidence at this point.
Yeah, so they've mostly focused a lot on the body camera footage, right? We haven't gotten any of that released to the public, but the Manhattan DA has been releasing periodically some of the exhibits that have been presented in court. Some of the ones that we've gotten recently, the silencer, we had not seen a close-up photo of that until that was released today. You see that notebook there. I will note the defense has repeatedly objected to the word manifesto being used, even in this hearing. The judge has said, I know it won't be characterized as that at trial, but I know better, and I'm not going to factor that into my decision.
I also know how that all this stuff is being leaked right now. I mean, all this stuff is available public to the press.
And that's been one of the things of the debate when the press is saying, hey, give us more of this stuff. The defense team is saying this is going to prejudice a jury.
If and when
this goes to trial. And so they don't want some of this language to be used regardless because they know that it's being reported, right? But that notebook that they keep referring to as a manifesto is a key piece of evidence in addition to the alleged murder weapon, the silencer, all these things they pulled from this bag. And all of that is stuff the defense is saying this should be thrown out. And that is one of the biggest issues in this hearing.
And that's why this pretrial hearing has gone on for so long, because they're going over everything with a fine tooth.
And you've been going over everything with a fine tooth comb. Ellison Barber, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.